Hello, traders. I wanted to talk about my favorite NQ strategy in this video. I am an algorithmic developer by background, actually, a computer engineer, and I've been writing for software for, I guess, companies and been writing algorithms for a long time. Not to say that I've been writing profitable algorithms all the time, but I did find one NQ strategy which is based on very simple principles, oscillators, the RSI, definitely the pivot levels, and a combination thereof, which I have found to really produce excellent results in fast-moving instruments. I have tested it fairly extensively for the NQ only. I wrote it for the NQ as a leveraged product buying strategy for me, meaning whenever the strategy indicated a long signal, I would go and purchase a triple X leveraged ETF. That was how I actually intended it to be, but the performance was so good that I decided to move this strategy to the micro NQs to start with, and it has done great. So this is an NQ chart. The strategy does well on both the 30, 60, 90, and 120 minutes, but my favorite setup is the 120 minute. And the strategy's real time and historical performance is simply outstanding. I'm going to try and pull this. I don't believe I can actually. I don't believe I've added a window capture for my strategy report. I apologize. Let me just do that here quickly in OBS. Shouldn't hopefully take too long. Strategy performance, match the title, and do a bit capture. Oh, no, Windows graphic cat capture. Okay, let's see if I can somehow fit this in, show you guys what I'm talking about, but not hide the chart as well. Let's see. Okay, I think you guys can see now, right? So hopefully it's legible, but sure, the profit number is pretty immense. I mean, I obviously haven't run it for 2.5 years. I only finished writing it last year in whatever September, I think it was. But it's had an even better performance than what you're seeing here on screen, precisely owing to the November rally, the election rally in the NQ. But that result notwithstanding, I really appreciate how this strategy uh, works in terms of like its ability to generate very high profit factors for both the long and the short side. It's highly skewed on the long side. It has taken over 29. It has taken 29 trades over 2.5 years, 2 years. Don't think of these as futures intraday trades, guys. Again, like I said, I designed this strategy as a leveraged ETF swing trading strategy. So 29 swing trades on the long side and 13 swing trades on the short side. But pretty impressive on the ratio of the average win to the average loss, 13.6 on the shorts and 3.11 um, on the longs. And what's remarkable here is I don't really care about the cumulative profits. That doesn't matter too much. And those numbers you can make look good many different ways. But it's the average adverse excursion which I feel is really important to look at. It's it's the heat that your trades take over a long period of time as the strategy works its way, right? So this is a very palatable number for me. The largest loss being in the upper in the 4K range, rather the lower 4K range, and the max adversity that I've seen is in so 6K, 5K, 4K, 3K, like that. So this is fantastic because if you compare that to the favorable, the ratios are astounding, right? Obviously, because if you hold on to runners, naturally are going to benefit from longer term trends in the underlying industry. And it's been all about new technology and been about improving the efficiency of how folks, the world has been using machines, right? And technology is supposed to add efficiency, also create new and smarter ways of doing things, but also to add efficiency to the existing ways of doing things. And that's just net cumulative value that kind of accrues over time, and you see these really long secular bullish trends like we've seen with tech, right? So that's what I'm talking about. I really appreciate the MFE favoring me on this side. Now, um, I thought that like the best way to summarize the performance of this strategy is not just what I get out of this. But if I had only purchased like one contract of NQ, let's say, in the beginning of 2019, or even in October 2019, I have found that my profits would be comparable, if not far greater than just a buy and hold on the underlying NQ. I believe the last time I checked, my profits were about 15 to 20% greater, but my max drawdown, the max DD of my strategy is 1/10 or 1/20th, I believe, if you include the COVID crash, 1/20th of what I would have seen in NQ. And that's no way to trade, because that would have thrown off my Sharpe ratios, right? The excess return that I'm able to generate based on the standard deviation of my equity curve. That's what Sharpe measures, right? So if your standard deviation is whatever 1, and if you subtract your net return from the risk-free rate, that ratio is your Sharpe, loosely speaking. And I find that I have a close to 1 Sharpe on longs, which is fantastic, and I have a zero point 0.3 Sharpe on shorts, which is expected. I cannot expect low volatility on short trades in a secular bull trend, right? That kind of makes sense logically. So anyway, so that's how, if you compare it to a buy and hold, this strategy wins, because it keeps the drawdown to 1/15th, 1/20th levels, but generates excess alpha, excess profits over the underlying instrument by 15 to 20%, as the top line number suggests. So anyway, so that's what I want to talk about on the strategy report itself. Let me see if I can kind of hide this quickly. Yeah, let's go back to the chart. Let me close this or minimize this. What has this strategy been doing, right? If you look at this, it's been waiting for reversals on the underlying indicators that I use. I use a combination, a really large. Uh, I use a lot of different facilities available for technical analysis to combine them into a signal for me. So, but big
Strong buy.
but big picture, it's something starting to happen on the NQ. But big picture, I'm looking for reversals that are in confluence with positive divergences, and are assisted by volume. Quite a mouthful, but that's really what I'm looking at. If my oscillators start to turn from negative to positive, right? If I start to see volume intensity, and if I start to see RSI starting to break out of the adaptive levels that it uses, I don't use fixed 30, 35, whatever. I use adaptive levels. Then I enter a long, and when I enter a long, what I'm really doing is I'm my uh, asking my other accounts, asking for a TQ long in my other accounts. Whatever, a call option, a weekly call option, doesn't matter. You can choose any product to benefit from the signal, but that's what I'm doing. And when it asks me to exit the trade, I exit my ETF trade or my option trade as well. If it asks me to take a short trade, it shows me some heat. This is the part where you have to either decide whether you want to go short at all on an instrument like NQ, or you probably wait for a retest of the high, right? I haven't programmed all of that gunk work into this strategy. I keep it really simple on the strategy side, meaning like if we do see a reversal, and we only catch reversals above certain overbought levels and above certain pivot extensions, only then the shorts materialize, because I would not be shorting here, let's say, or I wouldn't be shorting here because it hasn't overbought enough, right? So it's up to us to take the shot or not. But if we do take the shot, and if we have sufficient measure for the heat, then we do see some profits as well. So anyway, so I just want to like describe to you guys like what I've been up to on the NQ strategy making side. I worked last year quite a bit on this one, and I have a ton of other strategies that I'll slowly start to include in my videos and describe their methodology and describe kind of the intent behind why and the what. Not going to make a claim of everything being super profitable, at least on a futures level, but this one is a super profitable, weekly option ETF trading type of a system that actually does great on the NQ, happens to do great on the futures as well. Okay, so that's how I think about my strategies. I don't like to day trade futures strategies, automated future strategies. I apologize, specifically, right? I don't believe that you can have full automation beyond scalping, full swing automation on an intraday futures, unless you're just blindly buying overnight lows every single day, which, by the way, is a strategy that's actually profitable in the longer term. I'll make a video on that eventually. So that was some discussion on the NQ strategy, guys. Thanks for watching. Please do like and subscribe.